So the glow plugs on this 1.6 Citroen diesel are at the rear of the cylinder head. So to get to them, you'll have to remove this top cover. And you can see them just through there. So to get to them, you'll have to remove the airbox and these two 10mm nuts. So we'll just do that now. And you just lift this up backwards, and there you can see a better view of the glow plugs. 1, 2, 3, and there's a fourth one behind there. So what I've got here is a little pick, and you can just get underneath and push it up. So now just attach one end of your multimeter to the top of the connector there. Then attach your negative lead to battery negative. I've just got some extension leads here. And you should get a resistant reading there of 0.9 ohms, so around 1 ohm is fine for a working glow plug. So after you've tested all your glow plugs, you can just reattach the connectors. Pop on just like that. Alternatively, you can disconnect them where they will lead to that one connector there, which is just behind the thermostat housing, and test them from there. So with that disconnected, you can see the connector there. We've got 4 pins, and that's for each of the 4 glow plugs. You can then connect your multimeter onto each end of those pins and the battery negative, and then take a resistance reading. So I've got my multimeter attached to one of the pins in there, and you can see we've got nearly 0.9 ohms again for one of the glow plugs, and you can test each one of those. So here's a glow plug that's not any good. We've got just over 300 ohms, and that won't allow current to flow, and so it won't heat up. The other one you can have, of course, is if you've got no connection at all, and then you'll just get a open line reading. So what you can do after you've taken them out, you can connect them up to your battery just to prove if they're working or not. Glow plugs will come on when you initially turn on the ignition to warm the air in the cylinder and aid the ignition of the fuel. Now, because this engine is warm, the glow plugs are not going to need to be on. They do not need to heat the cylinder because the air temperature is warm enough. So when we start the ignition, there won't be any voltage going to the glow plugs. You can see they're also on after initial startup. That is to help with emissions, and you can see we've got just over a volt still going to the glow plugs after we've started the engine. When the engine's cold, you're probably going to have 12 volts going to those glow plugs to initially heat up the cylinder. Just some info here on the role of glow plugs when the vehicle is performing a DPF regen process. They're used to consume electrical energy and put a load on the engine. so it needs more power and therefore more fuel. So exhaust gases will increase in temperature, which is what is needed for regeneration. So if your glow plugs don't work, your vehicle may not be able to perform a self-regeneration process. So the glow plug is connected to the positive side of the battery via this terminal on top, and it's connected to the negative side of the battery through where these threads make contact with the cylinder head and where the bottom of this seats in the cylinder head. Inside we have the main electrode, and that connects to the heating element at the bottom. So you can see at the tip the outer casing is connected to the outside of the heating element, but they're only connected at the tip together, and they're separated by this metal oxide powder. Now it is a good idea to take them out before they stop working, or before you've reached 100,000 miles and they've got seized in the cylinder head, and just apply some ceramic grease to the body and just around the top of the threads. Remember that the threads have actually got to make electrical contact with the cylinder head, so you don't really want to apply too much grease to all of the threads. If you apply it just to the bottom of the threads there, that should prevent any moisture getting down into the shaft there and rusting it, seizing it into the cylinder head, and obviously you don't want it where it makes contact on the bottom of the hull as well. So this is the theory of what happens when a glow plug breaks in your cylinder head. You can see here that I've just broke it above the threads there, and so the top will just spin. Got to bear in mind though, this is only the theory. Your glow plugs are probably going to be at an angle in your cylinder head as well, like so. Not straight as in this setup we've got here. So the first thing you want to do is you want to remove the central electrode that runs down the middle of this glow plug. So we're going to do that now. We can just twist this off. You can see we've broke that out there, and that goes quite a way down into the glow plug. So what you can do now, you can see what size diameter hole you've got there by just getting a drill bit and sizing up the hole you've got there. So this is a 4mm drill bit, so we've got about a 4mm size hole we can tap into. And if we look on our chart, a 4mm hole, we can either have a 4.5 size tap or a 5mm M5 size tap. So that's what we're going to do there. So what you can then do is spray your glow plug with some lubricant, and I've just got my tap here connected to a drill. You're probably not going to want to do it with a drill if you're actually doing this on an engine. So we just mark it up how far we've gone. So you can see we've gone below where the threads are that would be in the cylinder head. We could actually go down further to where the electrode has broken, so we could tap all the way down to there. So what you can do now, you can get your M5 bolt. I've actually got a screw here, and you should be able to screw into the glow plug, into the threads we've just tapped. And you can mark how far we've gone down there. So you can see we've actually gone into the glow plug there. But we won't be able to pull it out because obviously the threads of the glow plug are still in the cylinder head. So we now need to drill out the threaded part of the glow plug without damaging the threads of the cylinder head. So now to find out the size of drill bit we need to drill for our threads, you can either measure the nut that we've just broken off in the beginning. So we've got an M9 there, or if you've got another one that you've removed, you can measure the threads on that. So you know you've got a M9 there, or if you've got a new glow plug that you've bought, you can measure that one. So if we look on our chart, for an M9 the minor diameter is 7.6. The minor diameter is obviously the diameter of the glow plug without the threads. So that is what we want to drill there, the minor diameter. So 7.6, we're going to use a 7.5 drill bit. Okay, I'm going to start it off with a 7mm drill bit. Okay, so we're left with this. We've still got the threads of the glow plug there, and we haven't cut into the cylinder head threads, and you'll be left with this in your actual cylinder head, which you can then screw into. So we just need to drill out the rest of the threads there. So we're going to use our 7.5mm drill bit. So you can see now we've just got the remaining threads left there of the glow plug, and it's starting to come away. And we haven't, by the looks of things, gone into the threads inside what would be the cylinder head. So what we can do now is tap an M9 into that hole. So we're just going to tap an M9 into this hole. And you can see the thread of the glow plug coming out. So you can see what can happen then. We just tap those threads there, and then we can put that in to extract the bottom part of the glow plug that we've just tapped. Problem is, you could end up with some of the threads still in there. You could end up with that still stuck inside.